is a certain feeling that drifts in long before the calendar insists it is time. A gentle pull, soft and persistent, that hints the season of warmth and memory might just be ready to arrive early. And if you have been sensing that quiet invitation, if a part of you has been wishing to step away from the noise of modern holiday chaos and return to something slower, older, and more meaningful, then consider this your moment. Today we're embracing the idea that the joy of the season does not need to wait for December. Today we are opening the door to a world of early holiday comfort, where tradition and nostalgia weave together in a thoughtful, welcoming way. Settle in and let yourself be carried by this calm, glowing anticipation as we begin an immersive journey into early Christmas magic, presented through a vintage Magnolia Farmhouse tour designed especially for November. Before we step through that front door, feel free to support this space by liking the video, subscribing to NAFA Vintage for timeless inspiration, and sharing in the comments whether your own decorations have begun their gentle arrival. Now, let us begin. Our early Christmas magic begins the moment you reach the porch, a place that quietly prepares you for the warmth waiting inside. The air is crisp, and the transition from outdoors to the farmhouse feels intentional, guided by a style rooted in simplicity and nature. Instead of loud decorations, the scene leans into rustic calm. Stacked galvanized buckets holding fresh pine clippings, bits of soft cotton tucked in as accents, and the unmistakable presence of magnolia branches introducing both texture and grace. The wreath hung on the weathered wooden door is generous and full, made of glossy magnolia leaves paired with gently aged pine cones, all fastened with burlap or a deep ribbon of red. Lanterns glow softly nearby, their battery candles flickering like the quiet heartbeat of early winter evenings. It is the kind of entrance that does not shout for attention, but instead offers a sincere, peaceful welcome that feels perfectly suited for a November farmhouse. Once inside, the living room becomes the true center of warmth in this vintage Magnolia Farmhouse tour. Here, the atmosphere builds intentionally through layered textures and lived-in comfort. Chunky knitted throws rest across slip-covered sofas, as though waiting for someone to settle in for a long evening. Velvet pillows in muted tones of sage, cranberry, and dusty blue add depth without overwhelming the senses. A natural rug grounds the room with quiet sturdiness. Instead of overly bright garlands, we rely on thick, realistic greenery draped across mantels and doorways, mixing pine with dried magnolia petals and the warm underside of the leaves. Vintage wooden boxes, old crates, and modest displays of bottle brush trees create charming clusters that feel collected over many seasons, not rushed. The entire space breathes like a home that has slowly welcomed the season one thoughtful detail at a time, embodying the soft, steady magic that only November can hold. The Christmas tree stands as the emotional anchor of the home, the place where memory and tradition converge most deeply. In keeping with the early season farmhouse mood, the tree is not a pristine showroom piece, but rather a lovingly curated blend of history and quiet charm. Aged glass ornaments with gentle imperfections catch the warm glow of soft white lights. Handmade popcorn or cranberry strands add their own nostalgia, moving slightly with the faint shifts of air in the room. The color palette leans antique, featuring gold softened by time, silvers that look like they have witnessed many winters, and reds deepened by age. Magnolia leaves are tucked between pine branches, enhancing the natural texture and grounding the entire design. Instead of a modern skirt, the base is wrapped in old quilts or worn linen, giving the tree a sense of story and belonging. This is not simply decoration, it is memory made visible. In the dining room, the November spirit settles into a scene that feels both prepared for celebration and entirely ready for everyday meals shared with family. A long wooden table, proudly showing its age, becomes the stage for a centerpiece built from magnolia leaves, pine, cypress, and soft seasonal greenery. Rather than towering arrangements, the display is low and inviting, encouraging conversation across the table. Brass candlesticks with creamy tapers flicker gently, shaping the room with warm shadows. Ironstone plates sit at each setting, accompanied by cloth napkins tied with simple twine or a small vintage ring. A single sprig of pine placed on each plate offers a quiet seasonal note. The room does not try to impress with extravagance. Instead, It whispers a calm invitation to linger, to savor the meal, and to appreciate the natural beauty of early holiday warmth. The kitchen, always the heartbeat of a farmhouse, is treated with a gentle touch that honors both practicality and charm. Open shelves display antique white pitchers, each holding just a few fresh cuttings of pine or magnolia. A small vignette on the counter, perhaps a wooden board laid with vintage cookie cutters and cinnamon sticks, creates a subtle nod to the baking season. Over the sink, dried orange slices strung together with bay leaves glow gently when the light catches them. The palette remains anchored in greens, whites, weathered wood, and the warm notes of copper. Nothing is overdone. Every detail serves a purpose or adds a soft whisper of seasonal grace, allowing the room to feel festive without interrupting the natural rhythm of daily life. Now we turn to the material that defines this entire style with unmistakable personality, the magnolia leaf. Its two-toned nature, deep green on one side and velvety brown on the other, creates instant depth in any arrangement. The leaves curl gently as they dry, adding variation and texture that only becomes more beautiful with time. In this farmhouse setting, magnolia appears in garlands, wreaths, table pieces, and even casually layered atop shelves or sideboards. Mixed with cedar or boxwood, it brings a fullness and richness that feels grounded, elegant, and timeless. Using magnolia generously but thoughtfully is the secret to achieving the calm, vintage essence at the heart of this November tour. The fireplace mantle becomes the dramatic yet soothing focal point of the room. A lush garland spreads across its surface, composed of pine, cypress, and abundant magnolia leaves that cascade slightly over the edges. Above the garland, a single antique mirror or botanical artwork provides height without overwhelming the natural greenery. On the mantle itself, muted clusters of mercury votives, aging brass bells, and small ceramic figures bring warmth to the display. The design remains low and balanced, keeping the greenery as the star. With the fire below casting its flickering glow, the entire scene becomes a perfect embodiment of early season comfort, glowing softly as daylight fades. Lighting is the quiet force that shapes the mood of the entire farmhouse. Instead of harsh brightness, the space is lit with soft, warm illumination meant to echo candlelight. String lights with gentle yellow tones wrap tree branches and garlands. Lanterns hold flickering battery candles that mimic the movement of real flames. Table lamps with linen shades cast a mellow, calming glow into corners. This layered approach creates shadows that stretch softly across the room, giving every vintage piece more depth and character. In the stillness of a November evening, this kind of lighting transforms the home into a sanctuary of peace and nostalgia. Rustic antiques provide the finishing layer of authenticity. Their worn edges, faded colors, and softened surfaces speak of years lived and memories collected. An old wooden sled leaning quietly against a wall, a group of leather-bound books wrapped with a velvet ribbon, or a weathered silver tray filled with ornaments all become part of the seasonal expression. These objects are not placed for perfection, but for story. They help the Christmas decor feel naturally integrated, as though the home has gently evolved into its holiday form rather than being transformed in a single afternoon. This blending of the everyday with the seasonal creates the heartfelt charm that defines true farmhouse style. And now our journey comes to its soft and thoughtful close. From the magnolia wreath greeting you at the porch to the glowing mantle and the gentle elegance of the heirloom-styled tree, this November farmhouse reveals how early holiday decorating can feel calm, natural, and deeply meaningful. The true beauty lies not in bright flashes of color or hurried excitement, but in quiet layers of history, warm light, and intentional choices that honor tradition. As you begin creating your own version of this early seasonal magic, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to NAFA Vintage for continuing inspiration, and share in the comments which element you feel most inspired to bring into your home. May the gentle spirit of November guide your holiday season with warmth, comfort, and timeless grace.